case, we've been kind of very heavily investing in building those partnerships at the kind of top tier of the entire Web3 ecosystem. And that means that the users on Phaver will be rewarded more handsomely with different partner rewards. But it also means that, for example, Pudgy Penguins and Memeland and CryptoPunks are all building their official communities on Phaver with our on-chain holder communities.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the SlateCast. Today we have Joonatan, the CEO of Phaver, with us, and we're talking about one of my favorite things in crypto at the moment, which is Web3 social. Joonatan, pleasure to have you with us again. We've known each other a little while. It's been a long time since we caught up. How are things over at Phaver?
Thanks for having me. Things are really well. As I mentioned before, I'm a bit jet lagged today because I arrived back from New York, back to Finland last night, so might be a bit slow with whatever I'm saying today. But had some really good conversations. We were at NFT LA and then we were at NFT New York last week. Did events with CryptoPunks, with Pudgy Penguins, 9DCC. We dropped our first 2D collaboration with them, with Memeland, and so on. So been a very busy couple of weeks. Plus we're cooking a ton of stuff on the app side. We rolled out our first NFTs and many other features coming. So definitely like uncomfortably excited, like Larry Page would put it.
Brilliant. And obviously, as always, with me, I have my co-host, Nate. Nate, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Great to be here.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to jump straight in, if you don't mind, Nate, because I've got a few things that I really want to speak to Joonatan about. I want to start with one of the topics that I think is kind of the sort of the hottest topic, really, because I've just written an op-ed about this yesterday, which is meme coins on Lens. I hate meme coins. I think meme coins are one of the most dangerous things to crypto personally. I think it actually hurts adoption, and I think it's gambling, which I have no problem with. I don't hate that they exist, but I hate that we try and treat them as the same as other things in crypto. However, Lens meme coins are behaving a bit differently at the moment. What's your take on the whole situation? And is there anything you'd like to say around the whole kind of bonsai pointless thing that's going on at the moment?
Yeah, I have kind of a pretty similar view that obviously kind of the entire, like Chris Dixon puts it, there's the casino and the computer in blockchain, and the casino is very much kind of hurting a lot of the adoption in the sense that if people are really focused on the speculation, the regulators are focused on the speculation, then we're not actually building those real solutions that build real value. But the one caveat is that if the meme coins, in this case, the social meme coins especially, are the ones that are actually driving adoption of those computer side solutions, such as decentralized social and Web3 social, then obviously they can be sort of a net positive. In our case, we haven't really leaned into Bonsai too much because we are getting ready to launch our own token, which is going to be not the meme coin, but one that we've been building for the last 2 years, making sure we have an in-app economy built around being farming resistant, having advertising partners play into that, and all these other things that are way more complicated to build than a meme coin, but also are expected to be way more sustainable. So we're hoping that's going to be kind of even more of an adoption driver, but at the same time, it's been kind of very bullish to see how well Bonsai is doing on the Lens side. And of course, Degen on the Farcaster side has been an even much bigger success, and very much driving the adoption of Farcaster, despite being kind of a third-party meme coin on top of Warpcast right now. But even the very simple models seem to be working quite well in this market.
No, I completely agree. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted to bring it up, is obviously because of Phaver and tokens. I think just in case, just to catch a couple of people up. So my sort of take on Degen versus Lens, though, is it's very nuanced, and I'm sure this will be divisive, but I think the ability to actually collect with tokens on Lens makes it different to Farcaster. But what I wanted to build into here, so Pointless was one of the first tokens on Lens, and they airdropped to all Lens holders. And I've been kind of educated by the community in the fact of one of the big problems there was a lot of Lens accounts were gamed early on, therefore lots of bots got this airdrop, and the tokens being suppressed by the fact that there's just airdrop farmers just dumping the tokens all the time. Bonsai took a different approach and only airdropped to the top creators with a high reputation score, and that seems to have been performing a lot better. Both of them completely community, completely sort of organic growth, and the only reason why they've got any value is because people are buying and trading them, and they're real. So my question now is, now that sort of audience is caught up, if you're not following the whole sort of story so far, is Have you learned anything from that? Has it helped you in any way in terms of, so Phaver has, say, Phaver points. I've been accumulating Phaver points for the last 18 months. Whenever I post, I can use Phaver points to boost the visibility of my posts. So it already has a utility with it being off-chain. What have you learned, if anything, from the meme coin community launches? And two, when you go on chain with your own token, what additional value and utility do you see that having over an off-chain token?
Yeah, so I think kind of what you described very much kind of hits the nail on the head with the dilemma of tokens in general. You either go very wide with your distribution and you end up giving it for the wrong people who are actually not people. So it's essentially a lot of multi-accounting and botting, and that destroys almost any token. Or then you go for a very small segment of users. So in the case of Bonsai, I think the airdrop went initially for about 4,000 users. Then I haven't seen the latest stats, but about a week and a half ago, I think it was up to about 5,000, a little bit over 5,000 wallets holding Bonsai, which means that the net increase of holders was only 1,000 people, which in the context of social media is obviously nothing. So it's actually very hard in the sense that while the kind of liquidity might be pretty good and there's a lot of action happening, you're still only engaging a couple of thousand people into the ecosystem, which doesn't really move any needles. Whereas then if you go system-wide, you're going to be kind of having the problem that nothing actually has any value. Same with Degen, it's actually a very small amount of users who are genuinely getting any value out of that, but they are also the very loud users. So they're the KOLs and the influencers and the content creators who are sharing like, look, I just got $20,000 worth of Degen. And that's what's driving the adoption. So what Phaver is building is a system that kind of is between these two. So anybody can actually start earning points on Phaver, but we've been spending 2 years on trying to build it to be farming resistant. So the only ways you can get points on Phaver nowadays is either by connecting valuable NFTs, which can't be faked because of blockchain. And then you earn a yield for having those be in Phaver, because we want to reward the high value NFT creators to be active in social media. Or then you create the high value posts that other people fave, so they choose them as their favorites each day. And also those people faving posts can be getting rewarded, but only if they actually fave the same post that everybody else ends up faving that day. So you cannot automate this, you cannot farm this, or the way to farm this is to actually be part of the content curation task force, essentially helping us discover the best posts each day. So this way, it's actually a very farming resistant setup, but actually everybody can join it from day one. And then because we're calibrating that off chain, we can now much more confidently launch the token on top of this and feel like we can actually reach hundreds of thousands of users potentially without giving it to the bots and the duplicate accounts.
I mean, you've been praised by Stanny from Aave for your community building with Phaver. He's been talking quite a bit recently about that. And you do. So we just talked to there. So Phaver has a cred system, which is the more NFTs that have got high value that you can connect, and the more proof of personhood that you can give to prove you're a real person. You get cred points that gives you a different level that works, and it's very easy to follow and track within the app. And as you're saying there, within that cred system, you're giving people points for having them. So you're basically airdropping tokens to NFT holders. You've got a lot of different NFT projects that you've connected to this system. How important to you is that community aspect of building those partners up?
It's very important for us. So kind of one of the key learnings I took from my previous career in Web2 ad tech was that by far the biggest value you can bring in growth is if you build mutually beneficial partnerships with high quality people or projects. So in our case, we've been kind of very heavily investing in building those partnerships at the kind of top tier of the entire Web3 ecosystem. And that means that the users on Phaver will be rewarded more handsomely with different partner rewards. But it also means that, for example, Pudgy Penguins and Memeland and CryptoPunks are all building their official communities on Phaver with our on-chain holder communities. And these sort of communities can actually then bring a lot of real added value and high value people into the system. So even as the Phaver community grows, people can find their sub communities inside that wider community. So that's kind of one of the key reasons we've been focusing on that. We also have like local country managers in place in markets like Korea, Japan, China, Vietnam, Turkey, and we have localized the app in those languages because we recognize that Web3 is not just about the English-speaking world. So we want to be supporting those local communities and making sure they have their own community events in those markets and they're able to engage in Japanese or Chinese or whatever their own native language is.
Fantastic. When it comes to Lens and the ecosystem, you say you can put, for instance, you can post directly to Phaver. You can use Phaver without having a Lens account. Now that Lens is permissionless, it's fairly straightforward to create. But one of the things I have noticed is there's still limited collecting and minting functionality within Phaver. Is that a long-term choice, or is that something that will evolve over time?
Yeah, so it will evolve over time, and kind of from the get-go, Phaver's mission has been to build something that actually is mainstream friendly. So we kind of accept the fact that like Hey and Orb are going to be better degen friendly collection apps right now. And if meme coin farming is what you want to be doing with your social career, then we're not going to be the best place to do that necessarily. But what we're focusing on is literally how to be grandmother proof. So you may have seen Pinky.Lens, my grandmother, on Lens and Phaver. She's actually getting pretty popular as a Lensfluencer, recently posting, for example, my childhood pictures. And that's kind of the ultimate guinea pig and kind of acid test for me, is that I want to be building a user experience that my grandmother is able to use in Web3 without me having to interfere with it. And if I tell her like, hey, grandmother, go and get some degen coins or get some bonsai so you can start collecting, that's probably going to be requiring quite a bit of help from me. Like, I don't know where to get my bonsai. I would have to learn that first. So what we're trying to build is something that is literally grandmother proof. For that, we're working with a couple of wallet providers right now to figure out a system where that can all work seamlessly with your in-app payments, and you never have to buy any crypto in order to collect stuff. Because if you're a normal user, what you want to be doing is, hey, I really enjoy this post by either my friend or a creator I admire, and I want to collect that post either to reward the creator or for me to have a collectible out of that. It's not about speculating like this might be worth 10x more in a month. And it's not about like, oh no, I have to pay 30% of an Apple tax, so I don't want to pay this $1 for a collection fee. So we're seeing that we just want to make it very seamless, very easy to understand for people, and have them collect for the right reasons, which is collecting, not for speculating or farming on a meme coin. And that's where kind of we're building kind of a next level solution for that. And therefore haven't kind of enabled the sort of degen-friendly collection mechanisms that currently would be violating App Store policies.
So do you have a sort of a timeline? Is that something we can expect sometime this year, or is it longer term horizons?
Yeah, definitely this year. I'd say probably this summer would be for that. And what we're trying to also figure out is we want to be including both Farcaster frames and Lens open actions.
Nice.
Besides the like Lens collecting alone, because we see that while collecting posts obviously does have a amount of potential in itself, but I think there's even more potential in the general collectibles minting of, if you're an artist, that you can actually make kind of an actual NFT instead of a Lens post NFT out of an artwork and allow people to mint that. If you're a musician, you can sell your fan passes directly in frames or open actions. All of that, I think, will have an even bigger potential than just the collecting alone. So we want to make sure that we build something that actually like encompasses the entire ecosystem and the opportunities.
I love that. I'm really excited about it. One of the things that I will say is my favorite use case is something that I've been doing just for fun. Is I've been making, you may have heard some of them, I've been making silly Bitcoin pop punk songs on Lens and I've been posting them with Hey, because on hey.xyz, I can set the attribution rights. So I've been making songs I'm like, Phaver, by the way, you're not going to get out of this. There will be a Phaver song coming soon. I've made songs for Christina from Lens. I made one for Orb, and I set the commercial rights to them, and those people, and it's basically like it's the ability as a freelancer to make content like without being commissioned. And if someone likes it, they can just commission it there and then go, oh, I like that, I'll buy the rights to it. I think that's one of the hidden really powerful ways of using Web3 social, like being able to just pitch someone an idea and say, if you like it, we don't have to even talk, buy it off me and have the rights.
Nice. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And that's, I think, another good example of the kind of modularity of Web3. So again, we are right now, at least, not building kind of licensing for music into Phaver, maybe someday in the future. But for those where that is meaningful, they can actually make the post on Hey and set those up. And then that post will be reflecting also on Phaver.
Exactly.
So
I mean, that's what I do. So,
yeah.
I mean, and this is why I love Lens. I post it on Hey, then I move over to Phaver, and then I use my Phaver points to boost it on Phaver and post it and amplify it across. And then I'll go on to Orb to collect some stuff. Like, I literally use 5 different apps on Lens daily because I have different value in each of them. But it's all the same content. It's all the same profile. It's all the same social graph. I'm completely addicted to the Lens ecosystem at the moment. I think it's so unique.
One of my questions, Joonatan, is what are the most popular types of creators or content producers right now? Like, one thing that crypto and Web3 gets a lot of flack for is it being mostly just young men. Like, have you noticed other different types of communities, demographics that are popular on Phaver?
Fries.
Yeah, so we've actually been like trying to actively combat that sort of like only sweaty nerds kind of a vibe that comes from Web3 social and well, Web3 in general quite easily. So the Phaver creator program that we've kicked off a while back actually has roughly like a 50-50 gender balance in it. We have a lot of really amazing female creators, whether they are creating art or music or just in general shit posting. Like most recently, for example, during NFT Paris, we were having a creator event where we took some of our creator ladies and we had Sephora sponsor the event. So they brought their Sephora makeup artist for a Get Ready With Me, set up in a Parisian hotel suite for the creators. We filmed all of that. So they got some great content out of that. And then they went into the World of Women Gala that we were collaborating on and kind of have been working with, for example, SocialFi and World of Women as well to bring more of these creators on board, because the realistic setup is also that because crypto is all sweaty nerds, then as a female creator you actually get a much bigger audience because you can like separate yourself from that horde of people posting Bitcoin memes. So if you look at the like top 20 on Phaver, there actually are like outside of the projects, there are a lot of great female creators in that mix who create their own original content of various types, and that's been really great to see. And I think that's where kind of Lens and Phaver have been excelling. That kind of majority of, for example, Farcaster is like very male heavy right now, but Lens is getting more and more of, I think, like a pretty healthy balance of especially the content creators in the system.
Yep,
that's fantastic. Agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be great when it's a much better balance, not just at the crypto events, but also the representation that we see on social platforms like Lens and Twitter, etc.
And I think it's not just gender equity as well. Like you have lots of people from different countries. As you say, I see a lot of posts in Japanese on Phaver. And when you look again, you've got a ranking list on Phaver. You can see who's kind of the most popular at a time. And again, it's very diverse across the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been actually great to see that kind of like one of the key parts of the ethos of Web3, I think, is that it's like borderless. So it's not about people in a specific country. And yeah, we have, for example, recently one of our Nigerian creators made a song for our Italian creator, Carla, in the Nigerian Pidgin English, which was an amazing like piano song. And like all of these kind of collaborations happening. And yeah, we have big communities in like Japan, Korea, and all around Asia, and then also in like Africa, in Turkey, and many other places. More recently, also more of an American community popping up, and a lot of the American creators are jumping in. But overall, like, yeah, it's really cool to see that we have this like fully global audience who also mix up together nicely. So when I went to our event in Turkey, in Istanbul, one of the Turkish community members brought me a gift to bring back home to my grandmother, because they'd been talking on Phaver and became friends over the Phaver comments. So he wanted to bring her a like Turkish arts and crafts gift.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's amazing. I'm currently in the process of collaborating with an American rapper on a track just from chatting on Lens. It's all been happening on chain. And again, I just love experimenting with this space at the moment because there's so much you can do with it. Right. One of the things that I really want to get onto this, because obviously it's happening right now. You're launching the Phaver Up NFTs at the moment. What are they? Why do they exist? And I know there's 3 rounds of whitelisting. Explain a little bit about what this kind of free mint's about and the reason why you've decided to do it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we've been spending almost 2 years building the point economy, but what the meme coins are showing us right now is that people want on-chain assets that are liquid and tradable, and they want to start kind of putting a valuation on things, and still that speculation does kind of drive the world round. So what we realized was that while we are kind of putting the finishing touches on the token launch, which is also coming soon, we wanted to make sure that we get something out there to start rewarding those early users and showing some real value also on chain. So we decided Phaver Up NFTs are going to be sort of the first step in our on-chain economy. The idea of this like 2,000 piece limited collection is that we give it through different qualifications and raffles inside the app and whitelisting on Magic Eden. First round is going to be on Wednesday this week, so probably today for most of the people watching the recording. But then also a week later and 2 weeks later, there's going to be a second and third whitelisting opportunity. So idea is to onboard as many people as we can onto Phaver and start giving rewards that are tangible on chain. And then in the future, these passes are going to be the ones that get you kind of like first row seats into all of the new launches, whether it's going to be new NFTs or the tokens or some other behind the scenes alpha inside Phaver. So they should really be like, they are called the Genesis Edition for a reason, because these are kind of for the first user base. And we plan to build a lot of utility around these, both on the token side and elsewhere.
So I'm not sure whether many people have noticed this. You may have announced it and I've kind of missed it, but I noticed that verified users now get less points or cred through the system than they did a week or so ago. And I know that you're doing that the Phaver Up NFTs are going to add points. How difficult is it to do the balancing around NFTs and sort of projects to make sure that it is fair? Because I imagine that there's something you have to constantly be looking at.
Yeah, it's always like there's nowhere anything you can do where everybody would be happy, because you always have to kind of either, if you like increase everything else, then the ones who weren't increased will be unhappy, or if you decrease, others will be unhappy. On the like verification ticks, I think we will actually be like putting those numbers back up on the cred side, because I think we went a bit too heavy-handed in the calibration, and we've been getting a lot of like justified feedback around that. But yeah, in general, we try to calibrate those back and forth, and especially like floor prices might be changing. So like Pudgy Penguins go up a lot and Bored Apes go down and all of these things. So then you have to go and adjust. But at the same time, we don't want to be just looking at the kind of floor prices of everything, because like those don't actually determine the value of an NFT community.
Yeah, I'm personally not too fussed, mainly because I spent like a whole weekend figuring out what the best value NFTs were to get to, because I wanted to be a level 4. So I was like, what NFTs do I need to own to better get level 4? And I went out there, and that's to say, that's the two-way economy that you talk about. I went and purchased NFTs simply because I wanted to be able to connect them to my Phaver account. So you're adding value to those communities right there.
Yeah, and it's been crazy to see, like we've had actually some communities where they doubled their floor price overnight when we announced that they're part of Phaver Cred now. So these were like 0.5 ETH NFTs that went into 1 ETH overnight and kind of kept that floor for at least a couple of months afterwards. So it's crazy to see that like that actually is driving a lot of behavior. And similarly, like we now announced that there's going to be like Phaver users have a chance to get whitelisted for the Mocha token sale. So as Animoca is one of our key partners with Mocha ID, we have 500 for that. And as I just checked, the first 24 hours of the post, we actually have over 4,000 faves and like thousands and thousands of likes and mirrors and comments on that post that we made about it. So people are very active when it comes to any sort of token opportunities inside Phaver. Curiously enough, we have 230,000 Twitter followers, and we have 5 times bigger engagement on Phaver than we do on Twitter right now. So for any Web3 project, like Phaver would be the place to be if you actually want to be getting the real engagement from the crypto users.
For sure. Fantastic. And obviously, Orb have just done a big announcement recently as well, one of the other apps on the ecosystem. So there's so much hype around Lens at the moment, I feel. And I think the fact that there's more than one app that are doing big launches at the time, it feels like it's a special time. Obviously, Lens went permissionless a month or so ago, so anyone can get involved now. So I believe Phaver has a guide of how to create a Lens account and do that through the app. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've created a Lens account or anything as such. If people like haven't got a Web3 account at all, can they just download Phaver now and go through the whole onboarding process directly through the Phaver app?
Yeah, so we recently added like claim your lens inside Phaver. It's only for level 2 and above users, but you can reach level 2 for free in a matter of days by just signing up and completing the onboarding steps.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. If anyone hasn't played around with Lens yet, download the Phaver app and prove that you're human, basically. And because that's the difference. Like, unlike with Twitter and with X, where you've got bots everywhere, like there's friction involved for bots. I mean, can you completely protect against bots on any system? I imagine not. Imagine that you're always going to get some, but it's about, I'm guessing, trying to make sure that the humans are seen as being higher value and make it clear. Is that the sort of goal?
Yeah, so very, very much kind of, and we're trying to use the carrot instead of the stick. So instead of making it really hard for people to enjoy the app, we're just trying to gamify, like keep climbing up the levels and get more perks for yourself. The more you prove you're human and the more you prove you're kind of a person who has an on-chain history, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, just anecdotally, it completely worked for me. I'm just, aside from this interview, I'm on Phaver every single day because I want to make sure I keep my cred. Like, I need to get that cred. I need to log in. I need to do some posts. I need to, add value to the community, look through, find content I like and fave it. Like, I think it's done really well. It's very different to X, where there can be days where I don't post. I've got no incentive to post necessarily. And actually, sometimes I feel like if I post, then it might negatively affect me in the algorithm. Like, I feel against it. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Web3 Social, many different reasons.
I'm curious, like, what factors you use to determine which new NFT communities to integrate, and are there red flags that you look for as well?
Yeah, so we're trying to, as you may have noticed, we have sort of a whitelist instead of a blacklist. So we're kind of adding only communities that we've certified to be legitimate. So we're trying to make sure that no like rug pull communities or otherwise like sketchy communities get included into the Phaver cred. And also what we look at it, like, while we don't care about the floor price as such, we look at it from the standpoint that if it's too low, as in like we're talking, let's say less than $10, then it's going to be too easily bottable. So people will just go and buy a bunch of those. So at least it's going to have a very low value in the cred setup. But in general, we look at those that actually have high value communities. So that's why we're working closely with folks like Pudgy Penguins, because they have an amazing community around the world of very passionate users. So trying to kind of very much index into those ones that are not just a financial asset, but are actually a community pass one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. And what's the current rate that you're adding new communities? And is that something you're looking to accelerate even more as well?
Yeah, we're kind of pretty much every week announcing typically like one or multiple new NFT partners. We have a team of over 10 people who are working on the partnerships around the world. And especially in the Japanese market, we've seen massive success. Like Crypto Ninja Partners added over 8,000 NFTs overnight when we announced that they're now connectable on Phaver. And a lot of the other Japanese ones have also been in the thousands immediately. So adding more and more of that, we recently hit the milestone of 150 million USD worth connected on Phaver. So it's not just kind of the volume, but also the value of the assets that's growing very nicely right now.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
Joonatan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on again. I'm sure we'll catch up at a conference again soon. And as you said, I think we've already kind of plugged everything we need to, but Phaver available both Android and the App Store. Anything specifically you'd like to plug before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, so depending on when you're watching this, you have probably already missed the first week of whitelisting for the Phaver Up NFTs, but we have 2 more weeks. So follow us on socials, whether it's the legacy ones like X or the next generation like Phaver. We're going to be posting on both of those, the next qualifications for the next 2 weeks of whitelisting. So you can still make it even if you don't have Phaver today, you can actually still qualify for the whitelist. And a bunch of the raffles we do with our partners and KOLs in the ecosystem as well. So follow the socials and the instructions there to get on the whitelist.
Fantastic. Well, Nate, as always, do you want to sign us off?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining, Joonatan. Great to chat with you again. I'm really excited for the Web3 social space. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to what developments are coming in the next year. So thank you again.
Awesome. Thanks a
Brilliant.
lot.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys.